Hi students, welcome back to SMG in the classroom. This is week 2 and I'd just like to really thank you for joining in. My name is Linda Cox and I represent the SIFMA Foundation Stock Market Games, and I am the California coordinator and of course the host of these webinars. So for week 2, we're going to talk about what is a stock and what is a ticker symbol. And our agenda today is, of course, learning about the stocks and ticker symbols, but we're also going to talk about exchanges. What are those? And subsidiaries and parent companies. And I have an activity for you at the end. And please join us next time if you can live, because guess what? I have prizes to give away. Yeah, it's fun. So first off, what did you learn last week? Perhaps your teacher will pause the screen and you guys can talk about it, okay? All right, now this week, let's cover what is a stock and what is a ticker symbol. And I have an excellent video to show you. So let's watch it.
Chapter 3, what is a stock and ticker symbol? In this video, we're going to learn about stocks, ticker symbols, exchanges, subsidiaries, and parent companies. Owning a stock means owning shares or part of a company. If you think of a company as a pizza pie, your stock would be owning a slice of that pie. Companies issue stocks to raise money for a variety of reasons, including expanding their businesses and modernizing their operations. Investors buy stocks with the expectation that the companies they invest in will increase in value over time and earn them money. So how do stocks earn money over time? Let's backtrack first and talk about ticker symbols. A ticker symbol is a unique group of letters that identifies a company's stock on an exchange. An exchange is a marketplace to buy and sell stocks. For example, the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange are 2 marketplaces you may have heard of. An easy way to search for a company's ticker symbol is by typing in the company's name on a financial news and information site like Yahoo Finance. You can see that Twitter's ticker is TWTR, and its stock price today is $37.12 per share. So how do stocks earn money over time? If the stock price is more than what you paid for it, your investment increases in value and is earning you money. If the stock price is less than what you paid for it, your investment decreases in value and is losing you money. However, you can't lose more money than the original price you paid for the stock. When searching for companies, you're going to have to recall what we learned in the Chapter 2, What is a Company video. For example, one roadblock you may run into when searching for a company is typing in a brand instead. A brand is the name a company gives a product it makes or a service it provides. So if I were to type in Doritos, I'd hit a roadblock because Doritos isn't a company. It's a brand of PepsiCo. Instead, I would need to type in PepsiCo to get the ticker. When I invest in PepsiCo, I'll be investing in their brand Doritos and its other brands. We also learned that some companies are private. You may run into a roadblock when searching for a private company. A private company is a company that is privately owned by a group of people. Shares cannot be purchased. So if I were to type in Staples, I'd hit a roadblock because Staples is a private company. Lastly, if you can't find the ticker for a company, it may be because it's a subsidiary. A subsidiary is a company that is 50% or more owned by another company called a parent company. If I were to type in Marvel, I'd hit a roadblock because Marvel Studios is a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company, the parent company. If you can't easily find a company's ticker, don't give up. This is a challenge for you to find out why. A simple Google search for company ticker symbol is sure to put you on the right track. Now let's circle back to our focus topic. We want you to answer, what is a stock and what is a ticker? And to think further, what do you think is important to consider before buying a company's stock? Thanks for watching.
All right, those are excellent questions, and we're going to circle back and ask those later. So let's go over the video to help you understand it further. And for the teachers that want to continue on with the education, I do have a video about how the stock market works, and it goes back historically to the very beginning. I'm not going to show it now, but it's up to you if you would like to show it later in the classroom. And here it is, but I will leave it up to you. For now, let's take a look at the company Apple. Students, do you know that company? Well, I do. I have all kinds of Apple products. I have my phone, and my computer that I'm talking to you on is an Apple. And I also have an Apple Watch. I guess you could say I'm a huge fan of Apple. Guess what? It was started in a garage, this one. And that company, Apple, it all started there. And did you know that many companies start in garages? That's kind of funny, isn't it? So this is in Los Altos, and it's called in the Silicon Valley because many of the chip manufacturing companies are located there. If you're wondering where is the Silicon Valley, that's up near San Francisco, near San Jose, just a little bit south. So Steve Jobs, and he's the one that started it, and then with help from Steve Wozniak, who later became a partner. And look at this computer. What do you think about it? This is one of the first early ones, right? It looks much different than the ones we have today. But they initially started in the garage, and their intentions as a company was to sell computers. So the question you have to ask yourself, if you're ever going to start a company like they did, is where do you get the money to get started? Where do you get the money to hire workers? Perhaps move out of the garage, and you got to buy supplies, right? There's lots of questions, but it all comes back to where are you going to get the money to do all of these things? Well, we have a couple of options. Perhaps you have a super successful cousin who started his own company and sold it for billions. You could ask this individual, hey, do you want to be partners or do you want to loan me some money? Or there's these, stay away from them. There's these horrible shark loans or payday loan companies. But guess what? They charge high fees, and also it's high interest that you have to pay back. And it's just known to be 45%, or I've read reports up to 400%. And that's just like, oh, way too high. So please promise me you'll stay away from these. Now, our government, this is another option. Our government offers small business loans, but they're not so small. They can be in upwards in the millions, and that might be a good way to get started. And they're also very helpful too. They offer all kinds of programs if you visit their website, and it's reasonable fees and interest too. Oh, this would be fun. What if we showed up on Shark Tank to pitch our ideas to the sharks. But, in all reality, it would be kind of difficult to get on the show, right? Only a small percentage actually make it that apply. But if you did get on, wow, it would really boost the sales of your company, even if they did reject you, I heard. The sharks are also known as venture capitalists, VCs, and angel investors. So that's a term we'll kind of repeat later on. Okay, I promise. Now, the other option is initial public offering. And I have a great video, but I'm going to reserve that and let your teacher show it to you. We'll just kind of move on. There's the video, but I'll let the teacher show it. Okay, now, so let's just say in the video, we talked about the company and we divided it up like a pizza. I don't know about you, but I'm getting really hungry right now. So if you took off a slice of it and that represents a stock and that's a share, guess what? You're owning a little piece of the company. So when you buy shares, you're actually a part owner of the company. That's pretty neat, isn't it? That's pretty cool. Just imagine if you bought shares in Walt Disney and you went to the theme park and you got walked around. You're part owner of that. You own a little piece of the company. Of course, if you bought a lot of shares, you own a little bit more. And when they make money, you make money. But sadly, if something goes down, of course, you lose money. That does happen too. So owning stock means owning shares or a part of a company. That's how it works. And before you buy shares in a stock company, what's important to know? Should we just buy in absolutely anything we feel like? If you remember in my first lesson, I wanted you to be investigators, explorers. I wanted you to do research, right? And make sure we're making wise decisions. So there's important things to look at before we start investing. We've got to do our homework and do our research. So I'm going to each week talk about different things to do to research, but let's start here. We can look at, is the stock rising or falling? So we can look at the charts. And guess what? Next week, we're going to go live on Yahoo Finance. And I'm going to show you how to do this, okay? And then also a question you can ask yourself is, do you like the business product or service? Is it something that you use or your friends use? Ask those questions. Now, for instance, if you wanted to invest in Google, it's owned by the parent company Alphabet. Do you use it or do you use another search engine? And then you should ask yourself, who are their competitors? Okay. And then you should try to figure out what size of the market share, if you would put all their competitors together. In other words, how much of the business of all the search engines does Google have? And if anybody knows that for next week, let me know and I'll send you a t-shirt, okay? Has to be the first person. All right, next. Do you think they'll be in business in 10 years? So in other words, we want to go into industries that are future forward, not kind of going backwards. Now, 10, 20 years ago, I used to read the newspaper, the paper print kind. But how do I read the newspaper now? On my phone or on my computer. Okay, so that's kind of an industry that's going away, right? The paper one, they've had to make a change. And also now when I go to visit a different city, I'm not always staying in hotels. Sometimes I use Airbnb. Do you guys do that too? So there's some changes. What's going forward and maybe what's staying behind. Okay? Do you understand? If not, we'll talk about it next week. So, how do we go about buying shares of the stock? We use the ticker symbol and it trades on the exchange. So, let's talk about that. A ticker symbol is a unique group of letters that identifies a company's stock on the exchange. And that's because some companies might have the same name. There might be two apples out there. By the way, there's the Apple label for the Beatles group, right? So we have that, and then we have Apple computers. So you can't buy shares in the Beatles group, but we have the identifiable code for Apple computers. And here I have a demonstration for you. Look up and you see that their ticker symbol, it's always in brackets, okay? And it's TSLA. Now for the stock market games, our trades must be with the exchanges on NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. And I'm going to show you a picture of both of those. But the New York Stock Exchange is the one we always see in movies and pictures where everybody's kind of running around and it seems a little bit crazy. But NASDAQ, if you were to open the door to that one, it's just a room of computers. That's why they don't ever show it really on TV. So one thing to remember to make sure you're using those two exchanges is that if it's 1, 2, or 3 letters, it shows up on the New York Stock Exchange. If it's 4 letters, it's on NASDAQ. And the companies that are on NASDAQ tend to be kind of more the technology-oriented ones. So let's go back to review the exchange. You know what? It's just a marketplace to buy and sell stocks. Your order comes in to buy, someone else is selling, and they meet up at the exchange. And that's what happens. When you go to sell, someone else is buying, and it's the central place where they meet up. That's what it is. And we have exchanges all over the world. So if you ever see the term aftermarket, perhaps your stock is trading overseas or something like that on the London or the Paris exchange. Okay, so here we see an example for NASDAQ, and the GS stands for global stock. And there's a picture of it. Pretty neat, right? It's in Times Square, New York City. And then of course, Wall Street, and it's right behind. And I got to visit it one time when I was still a teacher before I retired. I got to spend 2 weeks there, 2 different summers. Okay, so let's look what happens if you invested in the stock and you sold it, okay? Look what happened here. Is that a gain or a loss? And this is Harley Davidson. What do you think? Look what happened. First off, red is loss, and that's the 5-day chart. You tell me, okay? Kind of looks like it really dropped down, right? So if you sold it, would you have a gain or a loss? Well, I think a loss, right? Now let's look at Ford. If you invested in this, what happened? First off, first clue is that it's green. So for 5 days, it's been positive. Okay, you would have a gain. Okay, so these are some clues. And I encourage you to look at the 5-day, the 1 month, the 6 month, the 1 year, the 5 year to get a feel for the company. okay? And these two are informations that came out right after they did their earnings report, which comes out 4 times a year. All right, so back to those exit tickets that we had after the video. What is a stock? What is a ticker symbol? We just went over them. So your teacher can go ahead and pause now and you can answer them. And think further. What is important to consider when buying a company's stock? All right, I have an activity worksheet and I hope you're up for the challenge because I know you can do it. All right, this is a worksheet. Guess what? I use for my high school students, but I know everyone is up for the challenge. And what I have here is everything that is on the Yahoo Finance, the front page. And you pick a stock and you just start to fill it out. But we're going to do this together next week if you join me, okay? And I'll show you how, but I did the first one for you, Apple. And we will have it in the YouTube notes so you can do it also. And next week we will do it together. And for the teachers, we have the whole student packet on how to read a stock quote. And I have a second activity. This is a fun one, Jim's birthday present. And you get to fill in and see what comes out. And you're going to come up with all kinds of ideas of stocks to research. All right, again, next week, portfolio overview. And we're going to go over, if we have time, stock splits and sectors. But most importantly, we're going to view some financial websites together and explore stocks. And we're also going to fill out that worksheet. And for teachers, please remember to visit our Teacher Support Center on the Stock Market Game website. And I'd like to thank you very much for coming today. And I hope to see you next week for more education. Goodbye, everybody. And I forgot to show you, we have a guest today. It's my dog, Dexter. Can you see him? And he was very good, wasn't he? I thought he was going to bark today. Maybe we'll see him next week, right? Bye, everybody.